This is the results video for UFC Fight Night London, Leon Edwards vs Sean Brady, where we will find out which channels had the most and least correct picks, the highest and lowest return on investment, and which ones have the longest winning and losing streaks. But first, we go over the totals and compare the Oddsmakers versus the Tapology community and the YouTube prediction channels. For UFC London, there were a total of 13 fights. 110 channels made a total of 1368 predictions, so on average 12.4 predictions per channel. Out of those 1368 predictions, only 695 were correct for 50.8%, which is much lower than the average of 63%. And 673 predictions were incorrect for 49.2%. On this card, the favorite fighter in odds won 6 out of 12 times. We have to ignore one fight, Jay Herbert vs Chris Padilla, because both of them had the exact same odds with minus 110. So no favorite or underdog in that one. If you had placed a $100 bet on all the favorite fighters in odds to win their fight, aka the money line, you could have lost $337 for a return on investment of minus 28.1%. And again, the underdogs performed really well and they managed to win 6 out of 12 fights. And 2 of them were pretty big underdogs, which were Kyle Fernandez with plus 295 and only 11 out of 103 prediction channels picked him to win. And Chris Duncan with plus 275 and only 12 channels out of 105 picked him to win. And if you had placed that same $100 bet on all the underdogs this week, you could have won $415 for a very good return on investment of 34.6%. What if you had followed all the favorites in picks by the Tapology community? Well, they performed worse than the Oddsmakers. The favorite fighter in picks by the Tapology community won only 6 out of 13 fights for a return on investment of minus 31.8%. How about the YouTube prediction channels? The favorite fighters in picks by the YouTube prediction channels won 8 out of 13 times for a minus 2.8% return on investment. So this week the YouTube prediction channels were the best at predicting the outcome for each fight. For the least and most correct picks, we will only look at channels that made picks on at least half of the fights, which is a minimum of 7 for this event. In 6th place for least correct picks this week, we have these 18 channels in alphabetical order. All of them had 5 out of 13 correct for 38.5%. In 5th place is Aniki MMA. He made 11 predictions and 4 of them were correct for 36.4%. In 4th place for least correct picks is Greedo Plays with 4 out of 12 correct for 33.3%. In 3rd place we have Rparqs, Keith Schillen from Sherdog.com, That Betting Dude, Tiger Bomb MMA and Slatan's Fight Picks. All 5 of them had 4 out of 13 correct for 31%. In 2nd place for least correct picks this week we have Sun Tzu Tips with 2 out of 7 correct for a correct pick percentage of 28.6%. In 1st place this week for the least correct picks we have The True Analyst. He made 13 predictions and only 3 of them were correct for 23%. At number 5 for most correct picks this week we have Coach from Premium Picks. He made 10 predictions and 6 of them were correct for 60%. In 4th place we have these 14 channels in alphabetical order. All of them had 8 out of 13 predictions correct for 61.5%. In 3rd place is Paul from the Dogger Pass podcast. He made 8 predictions and 5 of them were correct for 62.5% correct pick percentage. In 2nd place for most correct picks this week we have these 15 channels in alphabetical order. All of them had 9 out of 13 correct for 69%. But the channel with the highest correct pick percentage this week is Lucrative James. He made 8 predictions and 6 of them were correct for 75%. So congratulations to Lucrative James for having the highest correct pick percentage this week and the rest of the channels. Links of the channels in the top 3 can be found in the video description if you want to check them out. And here is the overview of all 110 channels that made predictions this week, including those that made less than 7 predictions, with their channel name, the correct picks, their total picks and the correct pick percentage. If you enjoy the content and find it helpful or informative, then don't forget to like this video or subscribe. Thank you so much. For the most profitable and unprofitable predictors this week, we will only track channels that made picks on at least 50% of all the fights. Every pick counts, regardless of confidence level or odds preference. We place a $100 bet on each pick to win their fight, aka the money line. We calculate the results using the odds from the tail of the tape. The rankings are based on the return on investment percentage. Which channels were the most unprofitable this week if you had followed all of their picks and had placed a $100 bet on each of them to win their fight, aka the money line. At number 10 we have Zlatan's fight picks for a loss of $570 and a return on investment of minus 43.8% over his 13 predictions. At number 9 we have ROI and MMA Joey for a minus 34% return on investment over their 13 predictions. Greedo Plays is at number 8. He made 12 predictions with a return on investment of minus 45.7%. At number 7 we have the Weasel with a minus 45.8% ROI over his 13 picks. In 6th place we have JP Bet Journal with a minus 46.4% return on investment. In 5th place is HopperoMMA with minus 46.6% over his 13 picks. Keith Schillen from Sherdog.com is in 4th place with minus 52.5%. In 3rd place is Tigerbomb MMA with a return on investment of minus 54.9%. In 2nd place we have That Betting Dude with a loss of $730.
Look at the size of that loss. I can't do much worse than that.
Over his 13 predictions for a minus 56.2% ROI. And in 1st place for the most unprofitable predictor we have the True Analyst. If you had followed all of his picks and placed a $100 bet on each of them to win their fight, aka the money line, you could have lost $904 for a minus 69.6% return on investment. Which channels were the most profitable predictors this week? Normally I only show the top 10 or less, but for a special reason I start with number 11. And that's because finally, after having lost 10 weeks in a row, DFS by the numbers made a profit of $273 over his 13 predictions for a 21% return on investment. At number 10 is MMAEagle with a 25.3% return on investment. At number 9 we have Lucrative James with a return on investment of 27.59% over his 8 picks. At number 8 with a 0.1% higher return on investment is JP from Door MMA for a 27.6% ROI. In 7th place we have MMA Play 365 with a 31.9% return on investment. At number 6 is LFGMMAPICKS with a profit of $423 over his 13 predictions for a 32.5% ROI. In 5th place we have Cody from the Doggo Pass podcast with a 32.8% return on investment. And his co-host Paul is in 4th place with a return on investment of 37.1%. And I just realized I made a mistake. All the channels so far should be one position higher, because in 2nd place we have BennyPMMA and MMA Attic. Both of them made the exact same 13 predictions for a return on investment of 37.9%. And the channel who was the most profitable predictor this week is DRYWALL. If you had followed all of his 13 predictions, you could have won $575 for a very good return on investment of 44.2%. So congratulations to DRYWALL for being the most profitable predictor this week and the rest of the channels in this top 10. Links to them can be found in the video description. And here is the overview of all 110 channels that made predictions this week, also including those that made less than 7 predictions, with their channel name, money won or lost, and the return on investment percentage. Which channels are on the longest losing streak and have lost week after week? In alphabetical order, we have these 11 channels that are on a 4-week losing streak. Out of those 11 channels, the following 7 channels are on a 5-week losing streak. But only the Section of Violence, Fallen Angel MMA and Once Upon a Slugfest have a 6-week losing streak. And out of those, only 2, the Section of Violence and Fallen Angel MMA, have a 7-week losing streak. But unfortunately for Fallen Angel MMA, he's the only one that has an 8-week losing streak. Which channels are on the longest winning streak? As some of you may remember, last week only 14 channels were profitable. And out of those 14 channels that were profitable, only 5 of them are on a 2-week winning streak. And only Coty MMA, A-Train from Premium Picks and Uncle Weezy have a 3-week winning streak. But only one of them is on a 4-week winning streak, which is A-Train from Premium Picks. So congratulations to A-Train for having the longest winning streak. A link to his channel can be found in the video description. That was it for the results video for UFC London. Hope you enjoyed it and found it informative. If you did, then don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, have a great week, and I'll see you in the next video.